Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 3 of our Rigging for Beginners series volume 1. In lesson 3 we're going to have a practical example here where we're going to look at this model and pretty much begin rigging. For this series in particular, for volume 1, we're going to be focusing primarily on the idea of rigging something from scratch, doing weight painting and all that. And as we go on, add more stuff to it. It will go more advanced. Here we have our model, which is taken from Resident Evil 4, from the character Leon S. Kennedy. Pretty well known from the Resident Evil franchise, and pretty cool guy too. So here we have the legs, and we want to look at the model. Whenever we rig, we want to look at the model, check it out, if everything is good. So allow me to enable my screencast keys. It should be along the way here. Screencast keys, boom, just like that. And here we go. So we look at this and we check for any issues, any potential pitfalls to look into. So we have these parts separate, it's okay. We'll look into it further as we go. And here we also have parts like this. So I'm going to leave them as it is. And then later on, we'll go more and more into how to deal with that. So here we have the model. If we go Shift Z to wireframe mode or Alt C for X-ray mode, let's go here quickly and enable wireframe mode. So we can check it here, any potential issues, check the normals, so face orientation. So if you go here, click on the overlays and click on face orientation, and it will show us anything that's wrong. So normally what it would do is will show us two colors. Blue meaning that it's showing correctly, red meaning that's flipped, the normals are flipped. And this is not good if you're exporting this into a game, because if you have to flip normals, meaning it will not face correctly, the model will not look correct. And I can show you an example on screen of what it looks like. Here's a model with flipped normals. This is how it looks in a game engine, and that's because the faces on that are not correct. They're not facing properly, which is the red, but blue means that it's correct. So nothing's wrong here. Everything's good. Checking out anything here peculiar? Nothing. Okay. So let's start rigging this. So I'm going to go here, Shift A, armature, single bone, and then move forward here. And then numpad 5. I'm going to go to edit mode. Again, tab to go to edit mode. So I'm going to select individual origin and scale it down. So duplicate this again, move it up here. This is the hip bone, so I'm going to have it here at the center like this. And then we're going to do the thighs, so the upper leg. So I'm going to duplicate this, move this here on the x-axis. And the importance of this is the placement, and we see that this particular area here in terms of the topology is really good, so we're going to use that as a placement. And then of course we can have multiple adjustments. We can always adjust things. So I'm going to move it down here till we see the knee area, making sure that this is bent. We need to have a bent motion, because when we create the inverse kinematics, it's going to be very important to keep that in mind. Also, the pivot of your bones play a big role in this. So I'm going to extrude by pressing E and go here, and then E again for the foot, and then we're going to check this out, and then go numpad 3 again and extrude another one for the toe bone. And remember, we can always adjust this. We can always make it here, we can make it here. I'm feeling that this could be really nice if it were to be here. And again, we can always adjust it later on if we like. So that's one way of going at it. And here we go. We have created the foot and making sure that everything is good. I'm going to move this to the back just a little bit and then move this up like this. So we got that. All right, let's go going about naming these bones. Let's do that. So let's go to the object data properties of our bones and click names. So I'm gonna call this root, and this one is going to be hips or pelvis, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call this upper leg left, and then lower leg left, and then left foot, foot left, and then toe left. Simple stuff, easy to go. You want to click here and here, keep offset, and then click on the hips to root, and then keep offset. So we have set up the basic rig stuff here. Let's go and create the controls. So I'm gonna click on the foot here, Shift D to duplicate, Alt P to clear parent, so that we create the foot, IK foot for this and not worry about that. And then scale it, make sure that your scale or transfer pivot option is set to individual origins, so that way you can do that. Or if you don't want to do that, you can go to by pressing the N menu, and we go to the item, and then you can increase the length through here if you'd like. But I usually just scale it up, which does the same thing pretty much. So scale it up a little bit, just like that. And then for this one, for this bone, I'm gonna Alt P, clear parent, and then click here, Control P, keep offset. So just making sure, oops, let me just hide that really quick. Making sure that this is there, that's perfect. So that's the IK, so foot IK, and we're gonna call this foot IK underscore left. Foot IK left, and then here, Shift S, cursor to selected, Shift A, scale this down, and then move this to the y-axis. These are pretty much these are the steps that we did in lesson 1 and lesson 2 pretty much, but I don't need to like repeat them all of the time, but you can just rig along with me. And here I am going to rename this bone to pole underscore left. So pole, you can call it pole underscore target underscore left, whatever you want. I just call it pole left for the time being. And we're gonna go to pose mode. So let's go to pose mode really quick. Okay, making sure that this is, just before we do that, we're making just double checks here. So here, the foot IK, we can parent it to the root, keep offset. And for the pole left, we're gonna click on the foot IK and keep offset. So that's good, we set it up, goody, nice. So let's go to the pose mode as we say. So here I'm in pose mode, just double checking things, making sure that things are correct as they are. Hips, everything. We got the left side of this. So we'll select the lower leg and go to bone constraints, add constraint, inverse kinematics, the target being our armature, and then the bone being IK. So foot IK left. We have 2 bones in here, so we're gonna go 1, 2. And then we have the pole target again, armature, and then pole left. So let's check this out. It's rotating the other way, so let's try negative 86, like that time we did. If it does not work, negative 90. And then numpad 1, match up the angle here. And you could go between edit mode and pose mode just to check. So here it says negative 90, that's good, it works. And if we move our foot IK, it's moving along with it. So if I move this like this and rotate it, it does it properly. But notice that the leg here, the foot IK, is not following proper with it. So we want to make sure that this is following along with it. So we'll select the foot, the left foot here, and go add constraint, copy rotation, target armature, and foot IK left. So now we have this, and our foot is following along with it perfectly. Of course, later on when we animate, we're going to create another bone here for the IK so that it's parented by the IK. So let's do that now, because I want to make it more accessible, easier, and less tiresome to deal with. Because this can be good if you want, but still, when it comes to animating, you might want to make sure that everything is good. And of course, be careful of the pole target overextending. It can be a problem sometimes. So you can see here that we can just do this, and we can move this around like that. And of course, play along with it. So this is for the basics. We got the foot system here. We got the leg IK and the right IK working. So let's go into mirroring this. Since we have named everything properly, we are going to go to edit mode, select length by pressing L, and then selecting the other bones as well. And if you have hard time selecting sometimes, it's okay. You can just take your time doing this. Or if you want, you can do brush selection by pressing C and moving your scroll wheel up. If you want to do it quickly, you can do brush selection, which is by pressing C and then scrolling up or down to increase the radius and just selecting everything, brushing over them. So this is like brush select or paint select. And if you don't want this to be like that, what you do is press numpad 1 for front view and box select. And boom, everything's selected. So let's go to the armature here, symmetrize. Just like that, we have everything, including the constraints and all that set up for us, so we don't need to worry much. So here we have, and it's done. This is pretty much done. And if we move this down, notice how natural this is. So let's start assigning weights. So I'm going to select all of these parts. Let's select the parts of the model, like this, and then press H real quick to hide to make sure that everything's selected, and then select the skeleton. So Control P, and then we have set parent menu, and here it says armature deform. So we have multiple options. With empty groups, it will create the vertex groups, which is the groups for the bone names, and each of them where we can assign weights. But we want automatic weights, so we're going to click on that. And now if we select our model here, for example, the legs, and click on data, and you can see we have vertex groups. And to top it off, if we click on the modifiers, it automatically creates an armature modifier. I don't know why I had that there initially, but here it is, armature modifier. So we're gonna just name it here. We have an armature modifier set up. I think also other models had that. I apologize for that, because I was testing initially. So let's just hide these real quick, remove multiple of these, like that. Just double checking here, doing this one. Okay, Alt H to hide. All right, this is good. So let's select the armature here, and once more, if we go to Object Data Properties and click on in front, we can see them now in front of us. Or if you don't, you can uncheck it. So I'm gonna quickly enable X-ray by pressing Alt C. And if I move this, you can see that the weights have been assigned, but look at that. There are lots of issues that we need to do here. There's so many problems with the model here that we noticed, or sorry, not the model itself, but the weights. So we have to go in here and fix them. Now, this is to check. We'll check around here. So far, some issues are not terribly bad. They're not that awful. but we have very natural deformations in certain areas. And of course here we need to fix that, as you can see. And let's check the toe. Toe looks nice, the curling on it, but we still need to make fixes once more. So of course all of these will require some fixes. So what we did here in this lesson is we used the constraints. We have a practical example of the model, and we did everything. We set up the IKs, we set up the bone placements, and everything looks nice and handy. And you can see when we assigned the weights or parented the model to the armature to the model, and you can see we have the weights assigned. They look good, but they need polishing. We need to fix this. So in the next lesson, I will go more about how to fix the weights, how to make it look proper, and also the future lesson we're going to be tackling way more. This lesson was a practical example, and I will have the file for this that you can download and follow along with me. Now the point of this is that I want you to follow along with me, do as I do, and just pretty much take your time, because that's where we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this course. And that is weight painting, learning about assigning weights to groups and all that. And of course, cleaning this up way more and make it look more fancy and more presentable. And most importantly, do stay tuned, because there's going to be lots of stuff that you're going to find useful for volume 1 of this playlist. Volume 2 is going to be way more fun, but I'm not going to spoil you here now. I'm going to keep you at your toes. And we will be tackling more as we go on. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like, a comment down below, and share this video. Spread the word, spread the love. And if you have any questions or feedback, please let me know down below in the comment section, and I'd love to show more. All right, so catch you all later. Stay tuned and have a beautiful day.